Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to Shri Radha Vinobihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Rupan Gugori Guru Varga ki jai, Pratit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vinobihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari. Sorry we couldn't take you out anywhere today. It was raining, and quite slippery as well. But tomorrow...
Why don't you wait till more?
Oh, I'm just going to say it again and again. Tomorrow we're going out for the second half of Govardhan Parikrama.
We're going to Radha Kund tomorrow.
Yeah. Udhav Kund, Radha Kund, Manasi Ganga,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Baitak,
Mahaprabhu Baitak,
Sanatana Gosvāmī, Chakreshwar Mahadev,
yes.
Manasi Ganga again.
So much. So, tomorrow we will also be starting 2 hours earlier than...
I'll post it, but...
We will post it. So, please be with us. So we're going to begin today with Mangalacharan, as we do every day. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Page 1 of this book, Shri Gaudiya Giti Guccha. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavashta Shri Sagrajatam Sahavano Raghunathanvitam Kansajivam Savetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sahavano Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Om Ajnanatirandhasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audalya Madhurya Gunashta Yuktam Dharamvarinyam Purusham Mahantam Nārāyaṇam Tvam Shirasam Namami Tridandiram Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Pada Tripitaika Vriddhi Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasara Nārayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyamani Ashtatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurapreshthaya Bhutale Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyan केशववित्रिनामिने अतिमर्त्यचरित्राय स्वश्रितानाञ्चपालिने जीवन्मुखे सदर्भाय श्रीनाम प्रेमगायिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वतीति नामिने श्रीवर्षभारतीदेवी दयिताय कृपाभये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञान दयिने ब्रह्मवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणि श्रीमूर्तये दिनकारिणे रूपानुगं सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदं मूर्छायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगम्बरायते गौराविर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिय वैष्णवः सर्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतोपन्नो मम मन्दं पतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदं भोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदं श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठादिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमद्रसरसारम्भि वंशिमतततस्थितः हर्षन्देनुस्वरैर्गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीयस्तु नः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द Śrī Advaita Śrīvāsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahādāvagni Nirvāpanam Śrī Advaita Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhur Jivanam Anandam Purivardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrikāśvādanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Śrī Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Eva Kevalam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya.
Page 32 in the songbook, and if you don't have a songbook, just follow Jiva Pavana Prabhu on the thread. He will post the bhajans and kirtans, and many times so many beautiful commentaries from our acharyas, especially Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupada and our Guru Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So if you don't have a book, you're in luck. We have Jiva Pavana Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, all Vaishnavas. And we're just going to be repeating this throughout the day because I was a little wiped out and didn't post it. We will after the program, but tomorrow we're going on the second part of our Govardhan Parikrama, and we're going to Radhakund and to so many auspicious places. So we're starting 2 hours earlier, so 3 o'clock Vrindavan time. We'll post it again, but for now we're just going to let you know in between different spaces. Don't worry, Mamata will take you with us, even though you won't be with us live. We're going to carry you everywhere.
Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Gurue Dasi Trinapekayoti Hino Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Gurue Dasi Trinapekayoti Hino Sakala Sabhati Baladiya Ko Nijamale Srihahino
Sakala Sabhati Baladiya Ko Nijamale Srihahino
Kripa Bindu Diya Gurue Dasi Trinapekayoti As you can tell, the weather has changed. I think it changed yesterday. It was quite overcast, and last night it started feeling a bit chilly. This morning the fog rolled in, and it feels like the official first day of winter. It was pretty cool today, and very humid. The mridanga is our barometer. Lets us know how cold and humid it is. Page 40, Kripa Karo Vaishnava Thakur. If you don't have a songbook, then you have Jiva Pavana Prabhu. And if you don't have the page number, you have Lavanga Lata Didi. So, page 40, Kripa Karo Vaishnava Thakur. Kripa Koro Vaishnava Thakura.
Kripa Koro Vaishnava Thakura.
O Kripa Koro Vaishnava Thakura.
Jai Śrī Satyavrata
Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur.
Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur.
Prabhu Kripa Karo, More Doya Karo, Prabhu Kripa Karo, More Doya Karo. Vaishnava Thakur ki jai. Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nam Bharata, page 47.
What's everybody's name? Once somebody has a Facebook name, I can't.
So we're putting out a request for all of the devotees who don't have devotee names on their Facebook names to privately message us in case we don't know your devotee names or in case we just mess up. Sometimes it's just a initials.
I get used to the Facebook name, like instead of Jnana Shakti Prabhu, I put JS Das because that's the name that he goes by, and then I forget the names. So anyway,
I mean, we can drown your previous life's names in any holy river, and so that your devotee name will remain. But I think all of them should drown in the ocean of
yeah, we're going to drown the names tomorrow.
But it would be nice, if, especially if we've mentioned your names but not your devotee names, if you could just privately message, put your name and then next to that your devotee name and those of your family members. And tomorrow,
it might be too late now.
that's okay. Tomorrow we are going on the second half of Govardhan Parikrama. There's so many beautiful and very powerful locations, ending in the highest, topmost location, Śrī Dāmodara. We will be beginning at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, PM, Vrindavan time. So it's 2 hours earlier than usual. So this speaks.
So Young Kali Rupa, page 47. Thank you, Lubangalata. Jiva Pavana Prabhu has already posted it. Thank you. Dandavad.
One more down. Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Śrī Gosvāmī Pad ki jai. Nitai Gunamani Amar, Nitai Gunamani.
Page 61. Nitai Gunamani, page 61.
What's this? What's this lowest I can go in that one? Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Oh Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Nitai Gunamani Amar Oh Nitai Aniya Premero Manya Ashriyo Premere Manyano Yanita Yoyo Guru Deshi Guru Bhakta Dino Dino Bhase Vrindavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai. Gaurangir Dutipada Jar Dhana Sampada, page 74.
It gets picky in there.
Gaurangir Dutipada Jar Dhana Sampada, page 74. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Is Bhishma there?
I don't know, but Taruni's there.
Okay. Taruni, Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Please offer our most, how do you say, blissful happy birthday greetings to your husband, Bhishma.
All auspiciousness to Bhishma. Tell him that we miss him and we send him so much affection.
And remembering Srila Gurudev, we will offer him the Mangalam Bhavatu, Krishna Bhaktir Bhavatu,
Krishna Bhaktir Bhavatu,
Guru Nishta Bhavatu,
Guru Nishta Bhavatu,
Radha Dasyam Bhavatu.
Radha Dasyam Bhavatu.
May he be happy forever, now, into the future, and into perfection.
Jai Ho. Happy birthday,
Happy
Bhishma.
birthday, Bhishma. Okay. Gaurangir Dutipada Jar Dhana Sampada, page 74. If you don't have the songbook, just scroll to the most recent post of Jiva Pavana Prabhu, and there you will find the bhajan, along with translation, and I can guarantee you beautiful commentaries from our acharyas. I'm sure there's one by Srila Prabhupada there.
Not yet, but there probably will be.
Gaurangiro Dutipada Jardhano Sampada Se jane bhagati raso sa
Se jane bhagati rasa sa
Gaurangiro madhur leela jar karune Boli Śrī Mandal Bhumi Deva Jane Chintamani
Śrī Mandal Bhumi Deva Jane Chintamani
Par hoy raja bhume ma gora premo rasarve se tarange jevaruve se radha madhava antaranga grihe vamo likhe thake harango bole rakhe grihe vamo likhe thake harango bole rakhe Jaya Sachinandan Jai Gaura Hari Jaya Sachinandan Jai Gaura Hari Gaura He Gaura He Gaura He Gaura He Shri Satyanandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Jai Jai Sundarananda Kumar. Page 344 in the songbook. 344. Jayo Jayo Sundara Nanda Kumar.
Jaya Jaya Sundara Nanda Kumar.
Jayo Jayo Sundara Nanda Kumar.
Jaya Jaya Sundara Nanda Kumar.
141.
Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daite.
That's what I meant to say. I wanted to tell you the bhajan, but I started singing it instead. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. श्रीमती राधा रानी की जय, श्री राधा दामोदर की जय. So,
you're asking for Śrī Bhaktivedānta. We're late on that.
we will do it.
Thank you.
Śrī Bhakti Charanarenu Bhajana Anukul. What page is it?
Śrī Bhaktivedānta is page 216. Thank you, Labangalata, for reminding us to sing that.
6.
She said yesterday not sing. Today for us is Ekadashi. It's Mahadwadashi. So we're following all in Vrindavan are following Ekadashi today because the Tithi overlaps. So we're doing today. Other places around the world did yesterday. But anyway, thank you for reminding us. Kishori, you don't have to do so like normal. Just that other one goes so high. That was all.
Page 216, Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayānukula.
Shuddha Bhakata
Charana Renu Bhajanayānukula. I said it like from Brazil. Śrī Now we will call out in prayer to Nandanandana, Shri Krishna, Namami Nandanandanam, then Srimati Radhika, Muninda Vrindavandite, Triloka Shokaharini, and then Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. In the Bolton. And they're already up. How about that? That's great.
I think one day we'll have to trick them and sing different ashtakams.
That's page what? 289, then 285, then 290.
Or you can look for Jiva Pavana Prabhu, and it will be there. Also, just quickly, tomorrow we're starting 2 hours earlier at 3 p.m. Vrindavan time.
Govardhan time.
Govardhan time, isn't it the same?
Yeah, it is.
And so we'll be starting at 3 p.m. 2 hours earlier, because we'll be doing the second half of Govardhan Parikrama and going to Radhakund.
Our goal, our aspiration, our hope, our everything.
All right.
Sucharuvakramandalam sukarmaratmakundalam suchachitangachandalam namami nandanam sudirbhanetra pankajam shikhi shikhandamurdhajam anangakoti mohanam namami nandanam sulasikandramurtitam svachandanandapankitam navamrutangachetanam namami nandanam karenavenuranjitam dakikarindramanjitam rukuladikashobhanam namami nandanam Tribhangadehasundaram Nakhadyute subhakaram Amulyaratrabhushanam namami nandanam Sugandhayam ashorabham murovinajikashubham Surachrivatsalanchalam namami nandanam Vrindavana sunagayam vilasanurvasasam surendragarbhamochanam namami nandanam Brajandalasurayakam sada sukapradayakam jaganmana pradobhanam namami nandanam Śrī Dāmodaraṣṭakam tatedhya śraddhayanvitam kare bhavabhindusaram labhetadam vinudakam namami nandanam namami nandanam namami nandanam namami nandanam namami nandanam namami nandanam Kārtika Page 290, Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. But first,
I feel like you should be singing when you do this.
we should be, but can't do both at the same time. Śrī Dāmodara ki jai. Śrī Radharmana ki jai. Radha Minu Bihari Sachinandan Gaura Hari ki jai. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Shagram ki jai. Laddu Gopal and Laddu Gopal ki jai.
The babies.
You need close-up darshan. They got all their toys around them.
We only have a couple.
Okay, a few, but it's quite fun. Vraj Namaste Sunam
Hare
page 31.
I think on the online version.
Oh, for what?
Damodarāṣṭakam.
Okay. Thank you.
He's a little tired from yesterday.
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vacharam Pangum Langayate Girin Yatkrapatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashat Shri Śrīmad Śrī Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And the same, thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashat Shri Śrīmad Śrī Bhaktivedānta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga, Gauriya, Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer you my Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam, dear Vaishnavas, Radhe Shyam.
Radhe 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 Shyam. So today, we are observing Ekadashi on the Dvadashi. When Ekadashi normally falls within, you could say, the pure Tithi, means that time period when the sun rises, when Ekadashi has already begun, then that day will be known as Ekadashi. When the sun rises, when Ekadashi begins after the sun has risen, it is not considered a pure day, so then it will overlap into the next day, because the next day starts with the pure Ekadashi, but it also happens to be the Dvadashi. Even if it's 10 seconds too late, it cannot be considered the pure day. Hari Bhaktivedānta says we follow the next day. So when Ekadashi is followed on the Dvadashi, then it becomes a supercharged Dvadashi, otherwise known as Mahādvadashi. So here in Vrindavan today, we are observing Mahādvadashi. I believe it is Vyanjuli Mahādvadashi. So many persons, locals, actually were doing the parikrama yesterday, but the Gauriya Vaishnavas, especially those who are following the Surya Siddhanta, which Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada authorized, are following today here in Vrindavan. And in other locations it may be different according to your location and time period. But we follow Ekadashi today very, very strictly. Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori.
What did Vrindavan Vilasini Didi tell us?
I'll tell in a minute. Thank you.
Oh.
Krishna Vasati Bori Parama Adare Bori. In that bhajan we sang Shuddha Bhakat Charana Renu. The next line says Madhavatiti, for the next verse, Bhakti Janani. That these holy days like Janmashtami, Ramnavami, Narasingha Chaturdashi, Gaur Purnima, and Ekadashi, they are the days of the Lord. Madhavatiti. They are the days of the Lord. It means that the Lord is manifesting. The Lord meaning Krishna is manifesting within this time period to give mercy to the jivas. So Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani. What kind of mercy? Mercy is not wealth. Mercy is not a nice house or a new car or a beautiful wife or beautiful husband or nice children or all kinds of other things. What is it? Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, and Shri, bodily beauty, or any of these things. Mercy means bhakti, love and devotion for Krishna is awakened in the heart. So to honor and follow these days, Bhakti Janani. Bhakti is born. Bhakti Janani means the mother of devotion. So Ekadashi is known as the mother of devotion. And also these other holy days, but our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta, Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja spoke that Ekadashi is even more merciful. Why? Because Ekadashi comes every 2 weeks, not just once a year, but every 2 weeks, like an alarm clock. Our Guru Varga have also spoken this, that it is like an alarm clock, reminding us, what have you done for Krishna in the last 2 weeks? How much of your energy have you given for bhakti? Or how much of your energy are you utilizing to absorb in everything else that will not help you at the time of death? I know that in our process, there's a lot of awareness of the possibility or potential for death. But this is good for devotees because we know that whatever state of consciousness, not just the last momentary thing that crosses our mind, but the state of consciousness that one is in, when they depart from this body, they will attain to that state. So to the extent that we absorb ourselves in Krishna bhajan, always remembering Krishna, remembering the pastimes of Krishna in connection with his pure devotees, remembering his names, his forms, his qualities and pastimes with love and devotion, then to that extent we will make our way in that direction. If we absorb our minds and our senses in everything else of this world, then what will happen at the time of death? If we're thinking about anything other than Krishna, that is Anya, anything other, it is not exclusively for Krishna, then we can actually end up in quite a dangerous situation. So Ekadashi is so merciful because every 2 weeks she comes into our life and she gives us the opportunity to fully focus, to fully absorb ourselves in remembering Krishna. Manmana bhavanat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. Those who fully absorb themselves in Krishna by mind, body, heart, and soul, offering their pranam to him, glorifying him, serving him, worshipping him. Krishna says, those persons are very dear to me. Pratijane priyosime. So on this day, Ekadashi, we receive that opportunity to fully absorb ourselves. So generally you see so many Vaishnavas are maybe fasting the whole day. Why are they fasting? They're actually stopping their tendency to always want to gratify their senses, the sense of taste, the sense of filling one's belly. These are the vegams, the urges. Jifva vegam, udara vegam. So they're stopping that, and in essence, when you stop the tongue from wanting to enjoy, then udara, then the belly is also not full, and then also the pressure does not fall into the category of increasing lust. So, jivva vegam, udara vegam, upashta vegam. These things become limited, and that gives us the opportunity to endeavor more on the path of devotion. So many Vaishnavas are taking shelter of Harinam or chanting 1 lakh or 2 lakhs of Harinam, doing parikrama, absorbing their minds in Krishna on this day, because on this day, whatever you do that is favorable for bhakti increases thousands of times.
Also Bhishma Panchak.
And whatever you do which is unfavorable on this day also increases thousands of times. So anukulyasya sankalpa, make a firm resolution to accept what is favorable for bhakti, and pratikulyasya varjanam, make a firm resolution to avoid whatever is unfavorable for bhakti. That falls into the category of jatane palana kori. Very, very carefully honor and follow this day. Srila Gurudev explained, just like Krishna. If Krishna were to make a phone call and say, I'm coming to your house tomorrow. Oh, well, he is in our house, but you can imagine the idea of how would we be. It would be a crazed Maha cleanup. Everyone would be preparing, cooking, making everything nice, everything clean, everything fresh. Krishna is coming, Krishna is coming. So many people, when it comes toward Ekadashi, well, so many don't even follow, but when it comes toward Ekadashi, even many devotees go, oh my God, potatoes. And if we can somehow change the consciousness, shift it from, oh my God, potatoes, to, oh my God, Krishna is coming on this day to give me an opportunity to move rapidly forward on the path of bhakti, then instead of being a source of disappointment because my senses are not being gratified, it can be a source of bliss, happiness, excitement, because on this day, instead of focusing on gratifying my senses, I can focus on gratifying the transcendental senses of the Supreme Lord. Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam Bhaktir Uchate. This is another definition for bhakti. So gratifying the transcendental senses of Krishna. That's really what the purpose of all of the restrictions are. It's to take my selfish, self-serving, independent-minded center of the universe, me, out of the equation and put Krishna there instead. And if we do that, then there's maximized benefit on this day, Ekadashi. Thanksgiving today, yay, mashed potatoes. You have to be careful for the gravy. The gravy usually has flour in it, so be careful. So, in this connection, we heard something very recently from a very senior Vaishnava. Once a disciple of our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, came to him on Ekadashi day and unwittingly, maybe unknowingly, or mistakenly somehow gave him Mahaprasad that had grains in it.
Sesames.
Something that we should not have on Ekadashi. And they offered it to him on that day and he took it. And then he realized right then, you just broke my Ekadashi. And he became furious. So furious.
She said he was yelling.
He was yelling. How important was it for him to follow Ekadashi? He was so upset and so angry that someone came and gave him something that broke his Ekadashi. Because Ekadashi is non-different from Krishna. And if one is serving Krishna, engaging everything in trying to serve Krishna, and this thing comes and breaks that service, how painful is it for that Vaishnava whose service was broken? So our Gurudev was very particular about Ekadashi. When to follow, what time to break, this is known as paran. If you do not break it the next day within the proper time limit, it's considered that you have actually not followed Ekadashi properly. So that also creates some difficulty. So our Srila Gurudev was quite particular. He wanted all of his disciples to honor Ekadashi very strongly. And he set up a system where there would be, according to the local time in any part of the world, and especially in Vrindavan, he wanted a calendar just for Vrindavan according to the Surya Siddhanta calculations that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada gave. And he followed it like that, and he wanted all of us to follow like him. That is what Acharya does. As he is doing, I should follow. So he gave the example, and he is the preceptor, and we follow those precepts. So this is quite important for disciples, because these days so many people are manufacturing different ideas. And that's fine. Anyone's free to do whatever they want. That's why we're still bound in this material world. But if we want to attain bhakti, then Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. The only way to attain pure devotional service for Krishna is to take shelter of the lotus feet of Shri Guru. In other words, and I'm going to quote our Srila Gurudev, Guru Nishta is the backbone of bhakti. So what my Gurudev would be pleased with, following my Gurudev Anyone can do as they like, but I will follow my Gurudev. This is the teaching of our Gurudev and all of our Guru Varga. Gurudev said, never mind, thousands are against me, even if the whole world is against me. Never mind, as long as I'm holding on to the lotus feet of my Gurudev. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said something quite similar. He said, even if all of the thousands and millions and billions of all of the jivas in all of this universe, or in all of the universes, in one voice shouted at me the untruth, I alone would stand in the face of all of them and boldly and loudly proclaim the truth. I don't know if I'd be able to do that, but hopefully we might be able to latch on to a particle of a particle of a particle of the dust of his lotus feet and somehow be caught up in that kind of conviction. That's a very powerful kind of conviction. Normally for most of us, if one or two persons are against us, we become upset. If anyone makes any false accusation or even any real accusation, we become upset. Then 20, 30, 50, oh my God, why do they not like me? And then you start to shake a little bit. But Guru Nishtha means unshakable, unbreakable faith. Holding on tightly to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and never letting go. So on Ekadashi day, we can meditate on that. That is the first step of bhakti, Ado Guru Parashray. To submit and surrender oneself fully at the lotus feet of Sri Guru. That's why that bhajan verse says, Shuddha Bhakata Charanarenu Bhajana Anukul. That the dust from the lotus feet of the pure devotee, this is extremely favorable for bhajan. Bhajan means all of the activities that one does on the path of bhakti, aiming toward perfection. And then the next one says, Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi Prema Lati Karamur. Service to the devotees, service to the Vaishnavas, service to Sri Guru. This grants one the highest perfection, Paramasiddhi. In fact, it is the root, Prema Latikar Mul. It is the root of the awakening of Krishna Prem, divine love and affection for Krishna in our hearts. So from that perspective, from that understanding, we should see that what should we do really on Ekadashi day? We should try to keep Gurudev here. Because Gurudev is our beginning, our entrance, our everything, our nourisher along the way, and our connector in perfection. Guru is the connecting point, or the connection between us and our serving mood and our eternal beloved, who is Krishna. Guru is that connecting principle. So on Ekadashi day, somehow or other, we should hold our Gurudev very closely within our heart, or if we can't even think like that, maybe sit him next to us and then think, what would I do? How would I be? What should I do? Would I be doing something opposite to what he's doing? How would he be if I were to break Ekadashi next to him, or if I were to somehow create a situation where I would break his Ekadashi? Well, we know he would become furious. So I would not like my Gurudev to become furious. I would like him to be pleased with my every endeavor. And so, with great care, with great attention, Jatane Palana Kori, we follow in accordance with the instructions and the teachings that we have received from our Guru Varga, without unnecessary opposition, concoctions, twisting, or anything, just as it is, endeavoring with all humility to follow the order of Sri Guru. And by this, Krishna will give his mercy. Ekadashi is a non-different form of Krishna's mercy. She manifested from Krishna's heart out of a necessity to give mercy to those who are burning and suffering in hellish conditions within the material world. So how does Krishna accept our service? Right? Ekadashi is not different from Krishna. So how does Krishna accept our service? If one does not first go to Sri Guru, Pratamam tu Gurum Pujam, first of all worship Sri Guru. That doesn't mean just incense and flowers and fire like this. Srila Gurudev explained what it means, Vyas Puja, or worshipping Guru. It means giving up your independent mood, offering your heart, your mind, your body, your words, your everything at the lotus feet of Sri Guru. Gurudev once said, he asked one devotee to give him a flower, and then he had this, I think it was a rose, and he was playing with it like this, moving it up, down, and he said, your heart should be like this, that I can move you anywhere, at will, as I like. And this takes a lot of trust. To be able to trust like that, you must have implicit faith that that person is completely transcendental, without any inebriety, any attraction to anything in this material world at all. That they are completely absorbed in Parabrahma Shri Krishna, serving Krishna 24 hours a day, internally and externally. Then one can give their heart and surrender and submit to such a personality. When one does that, then ese uttamagati. If one has developed rati, divine love, attachment, attachment to the lotus feet of Shri Guru, then from there he will take that love that is in our heart and transmit it to Radha and Krishna. So that is our uttamagati, or our highest destination, to serve Shri Radha and Krishna. As we say in the Bhajan Gauranga Bolite Have Pulaka Sharir, that I will be able to behold the beautiful pastimes of Krishna, and I will be able to serve in those pastimes. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoive Akuti Kabe Hama Bhuja Bose Jugala Piriti Rupa Raghunatha Pade Vishaya Charya Kabe Shuddha Haviman Kabe Hama He Rabo Shri Vrindavan. So first, I will be able to behold Shri Vrindavan, then I will be able to witness the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So because Ekadashi is not different from Krishna, then we must approach Ekadashi as we would approach Krishna, which means first and foremost through the medium of Krishna's mercy, that is Shri Guru. Yesterday, how does Krishna accept our service? I think I just told that.
You did.
So, yesterday we did not receive an opportunity to speak something about Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Mahārāja. And I remember when I was young, growing up in the temple, always feeling a little bit dissatisfied in my heart when on the day of Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Mahārāja, they put a picture in the temple, and that was pretty much it. It was just a picture. And there was nothing about the personality, the greatness, the glories, the qualities of that personality. And I felt very distant. Even with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, there was not much. There was a little bit more because he was closer, but still it was very distant. And one of the specialities of our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, is that he would speak about all of these personalities on their day. And of course, Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Mahārāja, he also would speak about all Vaishnavas on their days. And really, both, all acharyas do this, but they really endeavor to impress within us the qualities, the pastimes, the teachings, the lessons of these acharyas into our hearts. In essence, giving us relationship with those personalities in such a way that we develop mamata, possessive mood, that they are mine. This is my guru's 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 guru. Right? Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja's Gurudev is Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So he's my grand guru, param guru. His Gurudev, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, that is grand guru, param guru. And his guru is Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Mahārāja. So, guru's guru. What is it? Double grand, triple grand guru. So we're just coming in that line. He is our spiritual family member. And by his mercy, we have somehow been able to receive the mercy of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. By his mercy, we have been able to receive the mercy of our Srila Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja, our Srila A.C. Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Mahārāja, whose day is coming in 2 days, I believe, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Mahārāja, Bhakti Dayita Marav Mahārāja. So many stalwart, amazingly powerful Vaishnavas. And then by their mercy, we have received our Guru Varga, our Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Govinda Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Bharati Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and so many amazing stalwart Vaishnavas. So we can see where the root is, and to develop some kind of relationship, appreciation and understanding, something of even a little bit of their glory. This will be extremely beneficial for us. If we want to please Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, then we speak about his Gurudev. If you want to please your Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, you speak about his Gurudev. It's just natural. When they hear their Gurudev's name being spoken, their ears perk up, because that is their life and their soul. If we want the mercy of these personalities, then we glorify that person who is their heart and soul. And also, Srila Gurudev said that any Vaishnava should be glorified in terms of their mood of dedication and their mood of serving their Gurudev, how they serve, how they dedicate their life, then we can glorify them in that light. There's so many different kinds of histories, but really what is the essence of their mood, of their service, then it's very powerful and beneficial. So I just want to say something about Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj, as I've heard from our Guru Varga. So Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj, amazingly, was considered illiterate. He could not even write his own name. I don't know if he could read either. But he is a special kind of personality who was fully saturated with Krishna Bhakti Ras. And he also was the embodiment of Vairagya. Vairagya means that his transcendental taste for Krishna Bhakti Ras was so great that automatically there was no attraction to anything in the material world whatsoever, and it manifests in the form of extreme renunciation. So much so that he also would be considered sometimes in the stage of avadhut. Avadhut means you can't really understand what they're doing because they're operating on a very, I'm using this term operating, on a very high platform of love and affection for Krishna. Sometimes it's difficult to understand. If we were to see somebody come into the temple, laughing like a madman, rolling on the ground, ripping their clothes off, and completely wild, we'd be like, hey. Maybe you need to go to the brahmachari ashram, get shaved up, distribute some books, calm down a little bit. We wouldn't understand because they're experiencing prema. Evam vratasva priyanama kitya jatanurago drichachitta uchay asatyatoro tiroti gayat yunmadvan nritati lokabahya. So that verse is spoken in Śrīmad Bhagavatam. What is it saying? That those personalities who are experiencing that high level of prema, divine love and affection for Krishna, sometimes they're laughing, sometimes crying, sometimes roaring, sometimes rolling on the ground, sometimes dancing, hairs are standing on end, and they're completely oblivious to what anyone else thinks about them. Lokabahya. Hasatyato roditi roti gayatyu unmada. In divine madness, sometimes weeping, crying, singing, dancing like this, and completely oblivious. This is a definition of somebody who is manifesting symptoms of prema. But we, in our material consciousness, might judge them from our perspective. Atmavan manyate jagat. As I am, I see the world. Wow, that person is completely out of their mind. This is what happened when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Temple. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is Krishna himself, but completely imbued, covered with, saturated with the bhav, the moods of Radhika, Srimati Radhika's love and affection for Krishna. So when Mahaprabhu saw Jagannath, he didn't see Jagannath. It was more that the bhav he was experiencing, Radha's bhav, is seeing Sakshat Brajendranandan. She is seeing her own Pranana, Brajendranandan, Shyamasundar, Krishna in Vrindavan. And at that time, he manifested all symptoms of ecstasy. He was running toward, he with her bhav is running toward this Brajendranandan, falling on the ground, collapsing, tears flowing from his eyes, all Ashtasafik bhavs manifesting on his body. And the pujaris, the pandits, and the guards, they came with sticks and they wanted to beat him and throw him out because they couldn't understand. It so happened that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was there at that time. And he recognized from his vast knowledge, because he was blessed by Saraswati herself, the goddess of learning, to understand and know all Shastra. So he recognized all of these symptoms of an advanced personality who is experiencing prema. He stopped them and he took the unconscious Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his own home and nursed him back to health with the help of his nephew, Gopinath. So, like that, they didn't even recognize the Supreme Lord himself experiencing the highest love and affection. They wanted to beat him and throw him out. So also, when any high-level Vaishnava is experiencing these symptoms, sometimes it manifests in a certain way that us conditioned souls cannot understand. Then we place that on the level of avadhut. And for that, sometimes our acharyas have told us to keep a distance because we won't be able to recognize properly and it becomes very easy to make offense, to make aparad. So they recommend just leave them to their bhajan, keep a respectful distance, don't mix too freely because you won't understand and then you will make aparad to their lotus feet. So it's not out of disrespect for them, but it's out of concern for us that we don't make offense to those divine and great personalities. So for example, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada didn't give full, you can say, full reign to all of his disciples to go and meet with freely Srila Gaura Babiji Maharaj, his Gurudev. Only a few he gave them, he sent them to go see him. And that was our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and a couple other devotees. Was it Narothamananda?
I don't remember.
So 3 or 4 went to see him. And he blessed them. Especially our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, fell at his feet. And Srila Gaura Das Babiji Maharaj said to him that I remove all of your obstacles in your service. And our Gurudev said that whenever our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, would say the name of Srila Gaura Das Babiji Maharaj, he would begin weeping and saying, he removed all of my obstacles, he removed all of my obstacles. How powerful is this Vaishnava, this personality? So he's completely saturated in prema. So he couldn't read or write. And how could he know so much? How could he know about Gaura Leela and Radha Krishna's Leela and everything? So according to Shastra, if one is completely surrendered to Krishna, who sees their Guru in the same way as, in the same light as Krishna himself, Yasya deve para bhaktir yata devi pitaguru tasyaite katita hyarta prakashante mahatmanaha. All knowledge, all transcendental knowledge is revealed within one's heart. Divya gyan hriday prakashita. So our Srila Gurudev was speaking about Srila Gaura Das Babiji Maharaj. That Srila Gaura Das Babiji Maharaj was previously in Vrindavan, in Radha Kund, in all places, doing his bhajan. What was his bhajan? He was chanting the names of Srimati Radhika, calling out for her mercy. Kothai go prema maye Radhe Radhe. Dekh diya prano rakho Radhe Radhe. Tomar kangal tumay dake Radhe Radhe. Always weeping and crying. And even sometimes, once someone went to offer him something and he desired to eat it, and he thought, oh, I'm going to chastise this tongue which is greedy to taste something for its own pleasure. Let me chastise. What did he do? Took a mouthful of neem leaves, very bitter, And then he would just eat the mud of Jamuna and Ganga. So he was eating the mud of Jamuna. Very, very renounced and quite eccentric. This eccentricity was a symptom of his internal praying. So Srila Gurudev explained that by eating the mud of Jamuna, he became blind. But when someone has the eyes of love, then they do not require their external material eyes. External material eyes cannot see transcendental truth anyhow. We've seen this in the history of Bilvamangal. Bilvamangal plucked out his eyes because he was already had run toward one prostitute, and she told him, what did he do? It was in the middle of the night. It was storming out. He crossed the Ganga, didn't realize that he used a floating dead body to get across, climbed up a rope. He didn't realize it was a snake in the middle of this horrible storm, and he went to her door to see her, and she was like, my God, if you spent even 10% of that kind of energy on Krishna, you would attain perfection in no time. And he was like, wow, you're right. So he decided from that point, he made a firm resolution, yes, I will give up all of my nonsense and I will go to Vrindavan and I will do bhajan. I will absorb my mind and my body and everything in the practices of devotion for Krishna. So he made that resolution. But as he was walking, what happened? He saw a very beautiful lady taking water from the well, and he couldn't help himself. He followed her home. And because he was already dressed as a sadhu, when he came to the door, her husband was there. And they said, how can we help you? How can we serve you? And he said, I would like to see your wife alone. And that's a very strange request for a sadhu. But anyhow, they trusted him. He went into the room and she said, how may I serve you? And he said, please give me your hairpins. She said, okay. Which is strange because then she had to take her hair out, and that's also taboo. But she was a very, very dutiful and proper dharma patni wife. And anyhow, she took her hairpins out and she gave them to him. What did he do? Boom. Took his eyes out. Why? He said, those eyes, they keep deceiving me. They keep distracting me and bringing me towards the things of this material world. I will stop that now so I don't have to see anything more of this material world. With that kind of extreme resolve and resolution, then he began wandering toward Vrindavan, but not knowing which way to go, and he couldn't see. Because he had sacrificed that most precious treasure, his own eyes, for Krishna Bhakti, someone came to guide him directly, and that was Krishna. And through his divya drishti, his divine vision, he was able to see everything. And as he was being led to Vrindavan by Krishna himself, what manifested from his mouth was known as Krishna Karunamrita, witnessing everything. He was speaking the pastimes of Krishna, and it was nectar to the ears of Krishna. So Krishna Karuna Amrita, the nectar to the ears, Karuna, of Krishna. Amrita means nectar. So the divine eyes are the eyes that one can actually see the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna with. With our material eyes, what will we see? Pigs, sewage, dirt, garbage, so many things, and maybe something, some surface something, some mayak something. Mayak means what we can see with our material eyes. So Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj didn't require his external vision. He was experiencing and tasting the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. But as long as he was in Vrindavan, he wasn't feeling the heightened experience of praying that he was searching for. And so Srila Gurudev explained that, like most of our acharyas, they may have been doing so many prayers and doing their bhajan, their practices of bhakti here in Vrindavan, but when they wanted to really go deeper, then they went to Navadvip Dham. Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj also did this. He went to Navadvip Dham, and there, taking shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. This is really the process by which one can attain the mercy of Radha and Krishna. That's why we sang the bhajan today. Gaurangira Dutipada, Jara Dhana Sampada. So, our Srila Gurudev mentioned that Gaura Prema Rasaranave Se Tarange Jevarube Se Radha Madhava Antaranga. By diving deep into the waves, the ocean of Gaur Prem. Sometimes it is said diving into the Ganga in Navadvip. That one will rise in Jamuna, in the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. So Gaura Prema Rasaranave Se Tarange Jevarube Se Radha Madhava Antaranga. Into the association of Sri Radha Madhava. So Srila Gaura Kishori Das Babaji Maharaj took that route. First he was here in Vrindavan, but he was not finding it to bring him to his heightened state of experience. So he went to Navadvip Dham and took shelter there of Sri Navadvip Dham and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sachinandan Gaura Hari. And through that process, he was experiencing this full bhakti rasa. So his nature of renunciation was such that if anyone were to come to him, he was also renounced from any desire for name and fame. What is a symptom of someone who is not desirous of name and fame? Well, they speak the truth. They say that truth tellers have no friends. Why? Because most people don't want the truth. They want little lies and little something that just makes them feel good. People like feel-good stuff. People don't like the truth. But Srila Gaura Kishori Das Babaji Maharaj had nothing to lose, and he had nothing to gain from anyone. He was experiencing Krishna Bhakti Ras. So any material or mundane thing had no attraction for him whatsoever. It held no attraction for him. So people would come to him, and they would offer so many different things, and he would be completely disinterested or uninterested. One person came from one location, and they said, oh yes, I came for a few days and I'm going to return in a few days. I bought a return ticket. And Srila Gaura Kishori Das Babaji Maharaj said, how can you have a return ticket? How can you have a return ticket? By coming to the Dham. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yad Gattamam Nivartante Tad Dhama Paramam Mama. That once you have come to me, you can never return. So I don't understand how you've come, but you have a return ticket. That means you've never really come. You've never really entered this place proper because you're only thinking about when you're going to go back. But if one is really coming to the Dham, then they will never return. And how could they? Just, what is this? Tunde tandamani ritim gitanute tundavali labdhe. How much nectar is just in these two syllables, Krishna, that I require millions of tongues to taste that nectar, and millions of ears to drink that nectar. Why would I want to go back to whatever I was doing before? So, Srila Gaura Kishori Das Babaji Maharaj told him like this. And our Gurudev said, and he ran away. Because he couldn't handle that truth. There was one devotee I heard that had hitchhiked for thousands of miles from somewhere in Europe all the way through Russia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, into India, and came to Keshavji Gaudiya. And then when Gurudev, it was the end of Kartik, he said, okay, now everyone, you should go back to your homes, go back to where you came from. And this devotee said, oh, but I came on one way, I have no return ticket. And Gurudev said, you should go. He said, you're not qualified to do this yet. And I'm telling this for us because we need to be able to balance these things. He said, you're only going to become a disturbance and you're going to be a drain on the mutt, on the temple. Meaning you're not qualified to do this. So these kinds of things we should do under the guidance of Sri Guru. Artificial or false renunciation can also be very, very dangerous. Someone posted something yesterday about so many persons at the time of Srila Prabhupada, near getting closer to 1977, before he departed from our vision, and he was just saying, I'm not making any more sannyasis. I'm not making any more sannyasis. He said this thing where they're becoming sannyasis and then freely mixing with persons with intent for material pleasure. He said, this is just making a mockery of the whole thing. He said, better to be proper, to remain in a situation where you have one partner and you just practice your bhakti like that that have this whole hypocrisy thing. So if anyone is going to surrender or submit and take shelter of Sri Guru and also give up everything else, then this should also be done under the guidance and with the instruction of Sri Guru, unless they're really, really of that nature to fully surrender. Otherwise, it does create a kind of a mockery. So Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj told him the truth and he went away. There was another person who came. He had actually been serving Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj for some time. Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj was completely indifferent to whether he served him or not, but he was serving him. And then after some time, he went away. A couple weeks later, he came back. He had married a very beautiful girl. So the proof of his not really properly serving Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj is that he didn't fully surrender there. Rather, he went away and instead got the result of his desire, which was what he called Krishna Dasi. So he brought this beautiful new bride to Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj. Please bless us. I have just brought one new Krishna Dasi. Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj said, "Oh, you are so fortunate. She is really Krishna Dasi. She is the servant of Krishna. Then you should never touch her for your own enjoyment. She is the servant of Krishna. Then every day you should cook for her. You should offer her for her. You should do arati to her, but never ever take her for your own enjoyment. Otherwise there will be great danger, suffering, and hell as a result." So he just called it out like that, and that person took his wife and also ran away. There was another one who came and he was crying to Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj, "Please give me your mercy, give me your mercy. Please, I want your mercy." Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj grabbed some copins and he said, "Here, take this." What does that mean? When Sri Guru, what? When we were growing up as little children in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, in Gurukul, they just generally made everyone, all the boys, you wear copins, all the brahmacharis wear copins. But in Gaudiya tradition, that is something that Sri Guru gives to someone who is accepting sannyas. They give a danda, copin, and a covering cloth. This is symptomatic of receiving sannyas. And sannyas means death to the world and life to bhakti. So you become dead to the world, and your entire life from that point on is only exclusively one pointed toward Shri Radha and Krishna. And Srila Gurudev explained that that's what it meant. So he said, "You want my mercy? Okay, then take this." In other words, he was offering him this kind of sannyas. That give up all material attachment, never look back, and keep your mind and the eyes focused on Krishna. This is mercy. This is real mercy. Anything else? Oh yes, you should go be happy in the material world. That is violence to the jiva. So Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj never minced words, always focused, always remembering Guru, Gauranga, Radha, and Krishna, and always telling the truth, never afraid that anyone would judge him this way or that way. It was always seeking and following the path of truth. What is that truth? Satyam Param. The supreme absolute truth is none other than Krishna, Srimati Radhika. Together. So Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj offered that to him. Gurudev said he also ran away. One time we were in South Africa with our Srila Gurudev, and one devotee came in front of Gurudev. "Gurudev, please give me your mercy. Just give me an instruction. Personal instruction from yourself. Please." Gurudev said, "As you are doing, it is okay." No, Gurudev, please, I want a personal instruction from you." He said, "I told you, as you are doing, it is okay." No. He said, I am pleased. As you're doing, it is okay. And then the devotee kept pressuring, "No, Gurudev, please, I want a personal instruction from you. Please tell me what you want." "Oh, you want me to tell you what I want you to do?" Yes. "I want you to give up all attachment to this material world. I want you to become completely renounced and be like Raghunath Das Goswami." That devotee began shaking like this. His eyes were wide open. He was becoming afraid. And Gurudev just smiled and he said, "As you are doing, it is okay." So for different persons, Guru knows what we can do and what we can't. And so he gives us according to our capacity. And from where we are, then gradually he would always say, start here, and from there you should progress. So he never wanted us to go backward or down, but from where we are, that's fine, but move forward from there. Don't go back, don't go down. Keep your eyes forward on the goal. For that person who keeps their heart, their words, their body, everything focused, despite all kinds of dualities of this material world, but keeps them focused on the goal, which is service to Shri Radha and Krishna. Lord Brahma says, Jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. They have already earned their rightful place in the realm of liberation. So Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj also, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj also sometimes would show extreme kinds of renunciation that were difficult to understand from so many other perspectives. Some said he lived in an upturned or overturned boat. You know those kind of boats that you see on Jamuna and on the Ganga. He was just staying under there for quite some time. And also, once upon a time, the devotees or someone asked him, some government persons, they asked him, we will build you a nice place. I want to go back a little bit because I was reading from Srila Bhaktivedānta Maharaj today and also from Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj. And the details, there's so many extra details that I was not previously aware of before. So they offered him something, a place, and he said, as long as I get to choose the place. And they said, fine. They said, we have a nice place. So he said, as long as I get to choose the room that I will stay in. So they said, okay. And so when he went to that place, which room did he choose? The public latrine. It was the toilet. He chose the toilet room. And he didn't leave. It was a public toilet, but he stayed inside there. In fact, when our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshwar Goswami Maharaj with those other devotees went to see him, that was the room he was staying in. And when they knocked on the door, he said, who's there? And they said, oh, we've been sent by Prabhupada. And that was the disciple of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So then he just opened the door really quickly, let them in, and closed the door. And there they had their meeting. So this was quite eccentric. And after some time, these public personalities wanted him to leave. And he didn't want to leave there. He said, I prefer the stench of this place than the smell or the stench of the materialism outside. I prefer this. This is much better than that. So he was doing his bhajan in there. Bhajan meaning chanting and remembering the pastimes of Krishna. Also at one point, he was known for being extremely renounced. So he just wore a loincloth and he would just chant constantly. But once he put on very fancy clothes and nice shoes, and he had a very, very beautiful walking stick, cane, looked like a landlord, and he was walking. And at that time, he met Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur asked him, why have you done this? This is quite an interesting appearance to see you like this. And he said, so many persons, they're taking the besh, the cloth of Babajis or sannyasis, but at that time, mostly Babajis. But they're making a mockery of what it is to be a Babaji. They're engaging in all kinds of licentious, nefarious activities in the name of bhakti, in the name of Mahaprabhu. So I don't even want to be associated with them. Better that I look like this, that I appear like this, like an ordinary, well-to-do grihasta of this world, than to be in the dress of a Babaji like them and be affiliated or associated with them. At that time, even the name of the Babajis, it was so bad that if any civilized or educated person heard it, they would even spit. It was like, we don't want to have anything to do with that. In fact, one time Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was invited to a Bhagavad Saptaha, means where they were reading Śrīmad Bhagavatam. And afterward, they said, so what do you think? And he said, I think you should clean the place with cow dung. And they're like, what do you mean? We just read Bhagavatam here, it's purified. He said, I didn't hear any Bhagavatam. All I heard was rupya, rupya, rupya. Means whatever they were speaking, the intent inside was only how to get and acquire money. So he said, I think we should clean this place with cow dung. This is the kind of brutal honesty that he had. Now I want to share something with you, because he was also contemporary of Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. He had a nice relationship, Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj, with Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. And when Bhaktivedānta Thakur would be giving his readings of Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj would go there to listen. So he had taste in Harikatha. This is symptomatic of any pure Vaishnava. They're always attracted to being in the association of devotees and hearing the glories of Krishna. As we've already told so many times before, Mad bhakta yatra gayanti tatra tishtami narada. Wherever my glories are being sung by my devotees, I am present there, the Lord says. And so the devotees are always happy coming together, remembering, reminiscing, glorifying the pastimes of Krishna. And by that they're experiencing pleasure, happiness, satisfaction at every moment. Tushyanti cha, ramanti cha. So Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj, he would go to these Bhagavatam classes of Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. And they would discuss so many beautiful subjects together, all related to Krishna and Krishna Bhakti. So Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur saw the nature of Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj, and he ordered his son, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, who at that time, his name was Bimala Prasad. He ordered him that you should take initiation from Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj. Now, if someone of that caliber is ordering someone you should take from that personality, that's symptomatic of the quality and the qualification of that person. Now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada did not see Bhaktivedānta Thakur like, he is my father. He always saw him as his Gurudev. In fact, he received Harinam and Kurma Mantra from Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur when he was quite young. And he was always assisting Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur in the services that Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur would do. So Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur ordered Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, Bimal Prasad, young Bimal Prasad, you should take initiation from Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, I have to say their names, that time Bimal Prasad, he went to Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj on the order of Bhaktivedānta Thakur. Fell at his feet and begged, please give me initiation, please accept me as your disciple. Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj said no. He wasn't accepting any disciples, so why would he accept him? Again and again and again he asked. And one time he asked, Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj said, let me ask Gaurnitai. Let me ask Mahaprabhu. Then he came back again, and he said, oh, I forgot to ask Mahaprabhu. Then he came back again, like this, one time after the next, and he kept getting rejected. But he would not give up. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada speaks in his own words what his experience was. And I wanted to share that because it's essential to understand this relationship, Guru Tattva relationship, real Guru-disciple relationship. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said about himself, I used to think of myself as a learned scholar in mathematics and philosophy. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was one of the most brilliant, you can say, scholastic minds of his time and of all time, really. So amazing, so clear, so sharp. And if anyone would even come close to him to try to get into a conversation, it was like a hot knife through butter. He could easily run circles around anyone and cut all of their nonsensical arguments. He was so powerful, so clear, so strict. And he also didn't need, if you read his conversations, when I read it, like each sentence is complete in itself. And it's so powerful, so cutting, and also so loving at the same time. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, I used to think of myself as a learned scholar in mathematics and philosophy. But by my good fortune, I met my spiritual master. When he shocked me by pointing out that my great qualities, my truthfulness, my pure moral life, and my vast learning were insignificant. Oh no. That's interesting. Well, my phone just powered off in that very moment.
You can still speak, right?
Yes, but I wanted to read exactly. So, 1 second. Okay. Nope, the other one. I'll find it here. Search. Kishori Mohan. 1 second. There's something about the exact words of the Acharyas that is just so amazing. And especially Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. When he shocked me by pointing out that my great qualities, my truthfulness, my pure moral life, and my vast learning were insignificant, I realized how great he must be to consider such qualities insignificant. In other words, he had something that was so great that all of this other stuff was completely useless to him. Like Sanatana Gosvāmī